I appreciate those of you who are here. As luck would have it, a lot of people have told us, oh, it's election day. And some of us, myself included, thought voting was a quick thing, but it is an all-day affair and people go throughout the day. So we appreciate you being here. Snacks, restrooms are in the back, and we appreciate you being a part of this, and especially our speakers coming today. It's hard to believe winter's right around the corner when we're having this unseasonable-like temperature happening, but we know that it will be coming and knocking very soon. And as a part of our Safe Streets program, we have the opportunity to partner with so many great agencies. And today we're able to see the benefit of those partnerships with speakers from the Topeka Fire Department and Shawnee County Emergency Management. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lieutenant Mitch Page from Topeka Fire Department. And following him will be Jake Henry from Shawnee County Emergency Management. And then we'll have time for any questions you all might have at the end. So let's give Mitch a warm welcome.
Good morning. I'll try not to be too loud here. Let's see, where's my thing? So I'm a lieutenant for the Topeka Fire Department. I work for Topeka Fire this is my 13th year. And I used to be a public education officer back in 2015, 2017, which the primary function of that job is delivering fire safety messages. So I love doing this stuff. It's very important. And this is a quick presentation I put together this week. Apologize in advance for spelling and grammatical errors. I'm sure there'll be some. So we'll go from that. I got a couple videos in here that are really impactful. Hopefully we can get those to work too. What we're going to go over today, this all kind of revolves around the winter preparedness. Smoke alarm CO is something we always talk about in all seasons, but particularly in the winter time. And that's because we're doing a lot of home heating. With the holidays, we're doing more cooking. So there's more chance for us to have an emergency. We're all cooped up trying to stay warm. So here's a quote. This is from the National Fire Protection Association. In this association, anytime we have a report, an emergency, we make what we call an acronym, INFERS report. We send it to these people. They compile the data. They're very important. So this is roughly 3 out of 5 fire deaths happen in homes with no smoke alarms or no working smoke alarms, meaning they're on the wall, the batteries are dead. This is unacceptable. This is a really easy problem to fix, and I'll show you some solutions that help get you some working smoke alarms in your residence or someone you know. Smoke alarms, we recommend they be in every bedroom, outside of every sleeping area, and on every level of your home. And that's, the bedroom I think is most important because if the smoke alarm in my hallway probably is not gonna wake me up. I'm a fairly heavy sleeper. But to cover all the bases, bedroom, outside of every sleeping area, on every level, that's best practice. You'll see interconnected on that next one. You'll have to look at your brand and manufacturer, but some of the smoke alarms are designed to where if one alarms, they all go off. So the one in the attic goes off because of a lightning strike, they're all gonna alarm. Some of the newer homes that have alarm systems installed, they might have a little plug you can plug in that helps with the interconnected. You don't need that. Just look at the manufacturer, check the box, and know whether it's interconnected. It's a great feature of those. So test once a month, change batteries yearly. Some people get confused. They think, oh, I test it twice a year or test it once a year, or at the time change was a good one. Really, best practice once a month. And then once a year, if it's not a lithium battery, if it's a regular alkaline battery, those really need to be replaced once a year. A lithium battery will last you about 10 years. That doesn't get you out of testing it once a month or whatever you set up in your household, but it's a little bit of peace of mind for something battery's going to last 10 years. And then usually the service life for a smoke alarm or a CO alarm is about 10 years. They recommend you get them replaced. All of them usually have a date of manufacture on them, and you can tell when they get old. They kind of turn yellow. They don't look current. So pay attention to that. Will they still work after 10 years? Maybe. Is it worth it? I don't know. More on smoke alarms. So they should be on the ceiling or high up on the wall. Really just follow the manufacturer's recommendation on that. Remember, these are smoke detectors, so that smoke is going to be hot. It's going to be rising up. A smoke detector on the baseboard is, you're going to have to wait for that whole house to fill up with smoke before it's going to alarm. So keep that in mind. This next one is kind of strange for some to understand. Keep smoke alarms away from kitchen. To reduce false alarms, they should be 10 feet away from the stove. This comes from the NFPA, and what they found was smoke alarms in a kitchen, they're going to go off all the time. You're going to burn popcorn, take it out, take the battery out. It's going to get coated in grease. It's going to wear out its detection method. So keep them 10 feet away from there. They'll still be able to smell the smoke really quickly, and you can kind of avoid, like I said, the statistics showed that most of the smoke alarms in the kitchen were just unplugged or not working. So people who are hard of hearing, deaf, can use special alarms. These have strobe lights and bed shakers. I have a picture of those next. Oh, maybe after that. So here's just a little diagram on where to put smoke alarms in the bedroom, on every level, outside of the sleeping. This one over here is a smoke and carbon monoxide. We'll talk about carbon monoxide next. So pay attention to what you're buying. Welcome. There is lots of stuff to pay attention to, lots of types. These are for the hard of hearing. So we have a strobe over here, and this device right here has a panel like an alarm clock, and it says fire when it detects something. This part right here goes underneath your pillow or your mattress, and it shakes the bed. And then the light obviously is on the wall. So those are great for hard of hearing folks. And I have two methods where you guys can get free smoke detectors, even ones like this one. We'll go over that here in a little bit. Oh, I guess right now, I forgot where my slide was. So free smoke alarms. The City of Topeka has a free smoke alarm program. We're sponsored by the Red Cross. I have a sheet that I'll leave with everyone today on where to get that information. It's an online application. We'll send the firefighters out to your house that are your neighborhood fire department if you live in the City of Topeka. They'll install it for you. They'll put a 10-year battery in it. They'll give you some advice if you have any fire safety questions. If you have young kids, they'll show them the fire trucks. It's really kind of a neat little experience. All free. The next one is by the state fire marshal's office. So they have a smoke alarm program. So if you're not in the City of Topeka, you're Shawnee County, you can apply for this one. And you may be able to go to like a Shawnee Heights Fire Department as well. I'm sure they have a smoke alarm program. The state fire marshal's office, however, they have hard of hearing devices. And there's an application on their website. I think you have to show something from a doctor, but you can get a free hard of hearing smoke alarm, and I believe they still give it to us. Topeka Fire will install it if you're in the city. So there's a couple options, and like I said, I have information on that. So let's talk about carbon monoxide. I'm just going to read this verbatim. Often called invisible killer, carbon monoxide is invisible, odorless, colorless. Gas created when fuels such as gasoline, wood, coal, natural gas, so on, burn incompletely. In the home, heating, cooking equipment that can burn fuel can be some sources of carbon monoxide. Listen, even if you have all electric appliances, you still have a car. And whether most people still have a car, whether you have electric appliances or gas, you should have a carbon monoxide alarm in your house. So a good example is in the winter, warming up your car. You go put the garage door up, turn the car off, leave it in the garage, start it. Sometimes if the wind's blowing right, that can create a draft and it can actually blow that CO back into your house. You don't even know it. If you don't have an alarm, you're not going to know about that danger. And this really is a pretty scary thing. Another thing to think of, and I have a picture of it, I think, in a little bit, is snow drift. A snow drift could drift over your heater vent, not allow that exhaust to gas, and it could build up in your home. So, carbon monoxide. In 2010, U.S. fire departments responded to an average of 80,000 non-fire CO incidents. Carbon monoxide was found on an average of 9 calls per hour. So this happens every day. We go to it in the city of Topeka, summertime, wintertime, all year round. It's more often in the winter just because we're trying to heat. So these can be got at any store. I don't have a free program for carbon monoxide. I think I looked on Menards. They're about $16, and like I said, you can get combination ones, smoke and fire. Follow the instructions on where to put them in your home. Some of them literally just plug into a wall socket, so they're pretty convenient. There's lots of different choices out there. Central location, we want them outside of every sleeping area. Again, you want to be woken up at night if you are sleeping. If your CO alarm sounds, this is kind of an important one. First of all, know the difference between your CO and your smoke alarm. If your CO alarm goes off, get out, call 911, get to fresh air. What we end up with a lot of times is someone will call for a potential CO call, and they're still in the house. And now dispatch instructs them to come out and move to fresh air, but keep that in mind. That alarm's going off for some reason. It more likely than not is not going to tell you how much a danger it is, so it's best to move to fresh air. Carbon monoxide poisoning, headache, these are kind of in rule, or a low CO poisoning is going to start with a headache. So if you notice yourself having a headache, you're at home, you go to work, your headache goes away, and by evening time you got a headache in the evening, you may have a CO problem. It's just something to think of. You don't know unless you have an alarm, though. Nausea, dizziness, breathlessness, collapse, loss of consciousness. Collapse and loss of consciousness, if it is high enough, it takes just a few seconds and you're out and you're on the ground. When we go to these calls, CO calls, we generally put our breathing device on, and we don't go in unless we have the breathing device on and a device we can tell how much CO is in the air. So this is a very dangerous situation. It can happen very quickly. Home heating. So maintain your equipment. This chimney wasn't maintained, or maybe they're burning gasoline in it, I'm not sure. But have that stuff looked at. I can recall one call that I went to. We got to the house, and the family was all still inside. They all had headaches. They were all nauseous. Another symptom is rosy cheeks. They all had rosy cheeks. Their heater, they turned it on for the first time that day. It had broke, the exhaust somehow, and it was just pumping that exhaust into their house. They all ended up at KU Med in a barometric pressure chamber to get that carboxyhemoglobin out of their system. But it was a very serious situation. They did not have CO detectors. So they were extremely lucky. So it can happen in an instant. If you can have that equipment looked at, it's a good idea. Portable heaters, turn them off when you leave the room. They are not designed for extension cords or power strips. Listen, every fire station in Topeka has something like this, right, Chief? So space heaters, they pull a lot of watts. So they are designed to plug directly into the wall socket. And that's why they have all those annoying tags that I always cut off on them. They're trying to tell you, don't use a power strip. Don't use a thin little, 3-plug extension cord. They're designed to plug directly into the socket. And again, they are designed to be used while you're in the room. You should not leave a portable heater running. Most of them have tip over protection now, so if it does tip over, it'll shut off. I don't know if I would trust that, but it is a good feature to look for. Same with the portable heaters. Keep them 3 feet away from everything. These get hot enough if you put it right next to a sofa, it's eventually going to catch it on fire. If nothing else, smolder. So this one, I just put this picture on here. This is not from I think now we call it UL certified. This is old. This needs to be thrown away or recycled. It probably has tip over protection, but again, it's not up to snuff. So something like that, I would be really cautious of using in my home. Cooking safety. This is this year's fire prevention message. Cooking fires are the #1 fires in America. So we'll just go over some cooking safety. Be alert. Don't cook if it's late, you're sleepy. Don't cook if you just got home from doing whatever. Be completely alert when you're cooking. That is the #1 incident for a cooking emergency. Frying, grilling, boiling, or broiling. Stay in the kitchen. These activities require your full attention, and hopefully we get our video to work. You'll see what can happen. Those are high heat situations. You're working with oil, which can burn if it gets too hot. Very dangerous. Simmering, baking, roasting, those are more things where you can set it, leave the kitchen for a while, but maintain checking on it, like cooking a cake or something like that. So just those kind of activities, paying more attention. Stovetop or the oven cleared. The oven is not a storage device. We've gone to incidents like that before. They store whatever in there. They turn it on, it catches on fire. So the stovetop is not a place to store stuff, particularly if you're using it. And either is the oven. Some more on cooking safety. Turn your pot handles around. This is a real important and very easy to fix. You see the 3-foot no child area. That's a recommendation from the NFPA as well. A good tip they had is to get like an oversized doormat or rug, put it in front of the kitchen, tell the kids you're not allowed to stand on that. Just keep that area clear of kids because you could easily knock a pot off just as easy. So be mindful. What to do if you have a cooking fire? Well, you need to decide very quickly if you're going to fight it or you're going to get out. Not everybody can have the mindset to think, okay, what do I need to do to solve this problem? If you do have a fire in a pot or in an oven, cover it if you can. Maybe put on a oven mitt before you slide that lid over. Cover that up. If you have an oven fire, shut that door. It is a metal container. It's going to keep that fire in there. If you can, remove the heat source. Turn off the oven. Turn off the stovetop. If you can, it's not always possible. If you can't turn off the burner, can you maybe use your protected hand and move it to a non-working burner? Get out. You have to realize that at some point in time, you need to just get out. This is too much for me to handle. I need to go. Call 911 when you're out of the house. Do not use water on a grease or oil fire. And hopefully we can get this video to work. How do I play that? Do I just hit next? Ah, darn it. So this woman here, she's live streaming cooking whatever she's cooking. And as you can see, it's not going well. So she realizes there's a fire. So she picks up the pot. You know, she doesn't have anything on her hand to protect it. She sloshes the oil all over the counter. She turns to the sink and she puts water in that oil fire. And when you put water in that, it expands 1,700 times and it turns into a gigantic flaming ball of scary stuff. She was in total panic mode. Oddly enough, she was still addressing her live stream, which was kind of funny. But she did eventually leave the apartment and go get help. She didn't have a fire extinguisher, which is something that you may or may not want to have on hand. But it was obvious from this that she had never thought about this scenario, never once considered what would I do if I ran into that situation. She really could have easily put a lid over that and the problem would have been pretty minimal. So I'm disappointed we can't get that work. Oh, I got nothing. Okay, a little bit more on winter safety. We talked about this. Warming up cars in garages, move them out. Again, you don't want to create a draft to pull that CO into your house. Snow drifts. Here's exactly what I was talking about. So this snow can pile over this. Looks like a dryer vent, but it could be anything that burns fuel. Cover that up. That exhaust got nowhere to go. It's going to end up building in your house. An example I have from my family, my grandparents had a scare, and it was just an older, drafty house. And the CO just kind of seeped in through the snowdrift covered window, and that it's a scary thing. So pay attention to that kind of stuff. Warm clothing, blankets, gloves, keep them in your vehicles. Like my 15-year-old kid, it's 32 degrees outside, and he goes outside in a t-shirt. And we're going to Kansas City for the day. If you're not going to wear it right then, just put it in your car. If you have a flat tire, if you lose power, you're going to get cold. Blankets, gloves, hats. Be prepared for that unexpected emergency. Ice and snow removal. We worry a lot about falls, slips, trips. Also, snow removal. It's a vigorous activity. If you're not physically fit, you could really strain yourself shoveling that snow. So maybe ask for help on that if you can. This last one was holiday decorations. So we got a lot of holidays. We got a lot of chimney fires. We got a lot of people burning candles and Christmas lights, Christmas trees. This next video, I'm sure it won't work. Now, it showed the difference between a dry Christmas tree and a fully watered live tree. They set up like a simulated living room, and within 30 seconds, the smoke is down to the floor, and everything in the room is on fire. That was a dry, unwatered tree. The watered tree, you had more than a couple minutes before that really got untenable, and you couldn't survive in that room. So, just an example. There's all kinds of things fire safety wise to look for. And that was one of them for this season. Oh, no good? No work? Darn it. It's very impactful. Look it up online. It's very interesting. As far as that goes today, that's all I got. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about or didn't talk about today? Yes.
Do you have a recommendation for fire, people who check fire cases?
I don't personally. There are a number of chimney sweeps in the area. There's also, I'm kind of a do-it-yourselfer, so Menards, Home Depot, they sell chimney sweep brushes and stuff, and if you're familiar with YouTube, you can learn how to do that, and maybe if you feel comfortable, that's something you can do on your own. But a chimney sweep, quick Google search will get you there. Dennis Bowser is a former TFD